It is a question that I question myself many times, because the belief in poetry, it is without border, or it is enormous, let's say. But anyway, we have to be so honest and rational at the same time that we know that the poet has the best and the highest opinion of poetry, that means of our own work. That is a question if the other considered poetry as so important task. But I believe it, just because today world lost the sense of dialogue, of trying with language to build new world, because poetry is not actually real world. Poetry is some parallel world. Some, as German philosopher Ingarden said, that the reality of literature, that means also of poetry, is so-called quasi-reality, not true reality, but is very, very important, sometimes much more than real reality that we are living in. And so I have to ask myself, and also all us, why the poetry is, through the centuries and millennium, one of the most important tasks of a human being. So I believe that poetry has power, although it's lived somewhere, let's say, I'm speaking maybe for Europe or from Slovenia and so on, somewhere on the edge of social movements or ideas. But anyway, as Shelley, English romantic poet, said, that poets are somehow the makers of law of humanity. So poetry is not at all only a game, a play with words. Sometimes it looks like, but I think that at the end, the poetry is one of human possibility to give the words of the truth of the world. World today is going apart, although there is so-called globalization that anywhere on the world is the same. But because of very strong belief that poetry has power, that the words of poetry has power, I'm still writing a poetry. Za pesem je dovolj slutna, lepa kot želva sredi tihega žretja, žival svetlobe, visoke beline, ki je dozorela v s krvjo porisani zibki, v gnezdu večne luči in tišine, skrita pod zlato dlanjo. V črnem dvorcu tvojega očesa preberem pesem. Odkot prihajaš mehka školjka vesolja? V tvojem zvezdnatem telesu spi tanek lesk italijanskega slikarstva, čudežna globina kovinske geometrije, obroblja ljudi, angele, živali in dežele. Naznanjaš darove modrih, rdečica ljubkuje tvoje prsi, lasje, dolgorepi, pavi v južnem nebu. Odkot prihajaš sinja školjka vesolja? V lilijah, ki so ladje v zrcalih, češenj, dolge roke, dišeče v vinu, ki curlja iz mlade Madonine dojke. Tvoje ustnice pečejo v strupu, rojeva se svetloba, plava soba jezika. Odkot prihajaš, velika Botticellijeva školjka? I was born after the Second War. My parents, mother and father, were partisans. They fight against the German occupation in Slovenia, that means in Yugoslavia at that time. But I was faced with the war in early 19th in former Yugoslavia. Also there was a short war for liberation of Slovenia when we decided to go out of Yugoslavia. Then we were faced with the war in Bosnia and Serbia and so on. So the problem is that maybe no one has the answer why the war is some constant part of human history. But actually, each war has its own reasons. Usually these reasons are very, very clear. There is going for the, let's say, for the some sources, let's say oil, petrol and so on, or water, it will be in future, or for the some part of countries, of land. Usually these wars were really very barbaric, because it's nothing to do only to kill the men, women, children. So I think that we have to face, as German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said in the last part of 19th century, that the history of a man is shame, shame, shame. That was the words of philosopher. I believe it, but we have to change this. But I'm afraid that there are not born the man, the human is not born who would stop this insanity of human being and history.
Filozof je razmišljal takole: če bi nesrečnike, če tudi so samo prispodoba, nekoč nekdo osvobodil, jim snel vrvi, ki že zdavnaj zažrle so se globoko v kožo, in jih povabil, naj pogledajo luč, svetlobo, ogenj, požar, sonce samo, vse tisto, kar dotlej niso izkušali, povzročil bi jim še večjo muko in trpljenje. Oslepeli od tistega, čemu so se stoletja kazali hrbet, bi ne zmogli niti na same solze več, kot matere že dolgo niso premogle mleka. Vse stvari, predmeti in pojavi bi bili potopljeni v sijaj, kot da božanski kovač bi jih pomaknil v ognjeno uste. A najhujša bolečina, ki zlomila bi marsikateri vrat, že tako šibak, saj končno je osvobojen, zlomil bi se v spoznanju, da iz sveta v tvar zdaj gledati mora resničnost.
Maybe someone will said that today the world is impossible to change also with revolution, because there are many, many revolutions that failed, that the results of revolution were only 100,000 of that. But the power of art, poetry, literature, music, especially music, because it is not the most abstract, but it is universal just for this. I'm sure that it can change the world, because without art, without music, without poetry, literature, paintings, we would be very poor beings. Each day we lost some part of our humanity because of the world economic crisis, environment crisis, and all the other things. There are, from day to day, are more people homeless, without water, without his own country, homes and so on. But I'm sure that if in the human being, in the man, wouldn't be some illusion that there is some way to go from one point to another, that there somewhere in the future, somewhere very in distance, is some goal where the man will be at the end, at last, really man with the big capital. So for this reason, I believe, although we are sometimes recognized as too much idealistical, because today the world is practical. The science is going across all the human activities. But at the end we have to know that the science, the object of science, it's science itself. So for this reason, I believe that I will answer per negationem, let's say, that without poetry, without art, we should be really very, very poor beings. And art also in man builds some kind of feelings which are above all each day going on. I mean process which are, as I mentioned, sometimes very, very sad, painful. So we have to insist on this root of art and culture.
So to kriki umirajočega mačka? Ne. Saj to ni glas smrti, ki se je naselila v mehkem mucku. Saj to je kraljevska papiga, dolgorepi in mehkoprsi ptič paradiža, ki se oglaša, kliče in vriska, da se razmika džungla pod silnimi zamahi mačete. Ko odpira kamniti klun, porasel z mladim lesom in širi smaragdne glasilke, mrtve ledene miši, stiska purpurno grlo in k nam prihajajo parajoči kilometre in kilometre naokrog segajoči glasovi iz Paragvaja, ki mi v smrtonosnih travah lezejo v naše telo in zastrupljajo tkivo z južnoameriškimi bajkami. Jutra izza dežja, pobarvana z vrelo roso, pijane kače vise z drevesa in v temni, močno dišeči daljavi se premika čreda mravljinčarjev, odpirajo se kanibalski cvetovi, mesojede rože, podivjane gard rože, kardinalski plašč mesečevega klobuka Španije, ščit kipečega vrelca sonca, žgoči tihi lesovi, mogočna vrata zraka, skozi katerega na krilih žuželk teče mavrična četa hivarosov, steklenih indijancev, ki mečejo otroke za hrano pirang.
There are a lot of poetry festivals all over the world. As I mentioned before, I was 2 years ago on some China International Poetry Festival. But there is a big difference. because there we cannot get close contact with the people, with the listener, with the audience. But here in Medellín, you can feel that people really not only love poetry, but somehow live with the poetry. And that is today, in this chaotic world, is something really so precious. As we saw yesterday evening, let's say, that the reaction on the side of public, of the people, there are, I don't know how many, but a few thousand probably, that they understand poetry, that it is not true that poetry is something very hermetic, only for a few professors on the university or some other specialists. That the poetry, and there was very different poetry we heard last afternoon and evening, very different, but altogether was somehow underlined with the public who accept this, and the emotion that they were really in the air. This evening was for me one of the most beautiful evenings in my life.